This world is wrong to be. Make something with your words have no bearing over me. Because my mind knows no reservations but yes. So let's just stay the fuck away. Say it with me.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hello, Dave. My name is Jess.
And
Hello.
bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, Fall Brawl 97. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcast. And don't forget, we are now part of the WrestleHub family, all about wrestling podcast. Hit them up at the WrestleHub on YouTube and Instagram. Dad, you ready to talk about Fall Brawl?
It's September. I wanted to choose this because Fall Brawl used to be a September staple in WCW from 93 on. And we're also going to record at the same time, not on this episode. We're going to split it up, but Unforgiven on the WWE side of the land of
A
wrestling.
little behind the scenes, guys.
Yes.
No.
The WWE on the other side of the wrestling spectrum. Unforgiven was their September staple for a long time. So we're going to be reviewing both of them, starting with Fall Brawl here, and then we will also do Unforgiven. I'm excited because I did not expect to like this pay-per-view as much as I did when I rewatched it. I was like, fuck, like on some of these matches. So we'll get into this shit and do some shit and shit.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit the first match up.
All right. Well, first of all, let me do my...
Where was it, Dave? What was the attendance, Dave? Where were they?
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
They were in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. There was about 12,000 motherfuckers in this arena.
Yeah.
For Fall
so they were
Brawl.
at Dave's mom's house.
Yes, so they were at Dave's mom's
That's
house.
right. That's
It was
right.
September 4th, 1997. Little landscape of wrestling at this time. WWE was still trying to figure their shit out. They were about a month away from Stone Cold Steve Austin being dropped on his neck by Owen Hart at SummerSlam 97.
I believe there was just under 12,000 people at this event. Is that right?
Yes, there was 12,000 motherfuckers, as I said earlier, Dave, in this building. But on WWE side,
Well,
they
you
were
talk
still
so
trying
much,
to...
we don't listen to half of it. What?
This is true. Probably true, actually. It's your fault, though. You should go back and listen then. So WWE, or WWF, excuse me, back at this time, was still trying to figure out the Hart Foundation was the number one heel stable in WWF over there at the other side. WCW Nitro was firmly in control of the ratings war here at September of 97. They were about 6 or 7 months away from suffering their first defeat in 83 weeks, but here, the NWO still reigned supreme.
Jess, where was Hogan?
Huh?
Where was Hogan?
Hogan doesn't like to do B pay-per-views, as they say in the business, even though he's done some Fall Brawls in the past. Hogan only wrestled about 4 pay-per-views a year and a handful of Nitros, so Hulk Hogan was taking a contract breather on this one. But he was still the leader of the NWO here. He was still world champion, I believe, at this point. Actually, yeah. He was going to lose it in a couple weeks to Lex Luger, and then he would beat Luger back in 4 days at Road Wild, the financially successful pay-per-view.
So he chose to do Road Wild, but not Fall Brawl War Game.
Yeah.
You know what?
So
I'm
was at
backwards,
the-
actually. No, let me correct myself. I'm ridiculous right now.
Whoa. We're going to have to start over.
August, September. So Austin had already been dropped on his head at this point. SummerSlam was the month before this. So Bret Hart won the world title from The Undertaker, was the head of the Hart Foundation heel faction. Austin had been dropped on his head a month out at this point. And Hulk Hogan did the whole thing. Luger beat him on a great moment on Nitro, but Hogan beat him 5 days later at Road Wild in August. Here we are in September. That was an active month for Hogan. He wrestled 2 times in the span of 60 days, Craig. Hogan had to take a break.
Exhausted. What a warrior. What a road warrior.
To answer your question, Craig, he was at the Hogan Beach Shop. That's where he was.
He was chilling. Hey, brother. Come to my beach shop,
I have some surfboards, brother.
So they were in North Carolina here, which is Ric Flair country and Horseman country, which we'll talk about later because it does play into all this. 12,000 people. That's the climate of wrestling. Now we're going to go into this bad boy here. The first match is, right away, when I say these names, I'm like, well, of course. Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho took on each other for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Chris Jericho was the defending champion here. Eddie Guerrero would defeat Chris Jericho to win the Cruiserweight Championship in 17 minutes and 19 seconds. Again,
Jess,
I'm going to go...
what
sorry.
was Chris Jericho's music, WCW music? And why it's the worst thing on the network
Yes.
to hear
For some-
Break the Walls Down, which was not his music, but I do not
Correct.
remember his music being a license problem.
Yeah, it
What
was.
was
It was a generic WCW, like, pick'em theme music. It was really ridiculous. Like, it wasn't even he didn't get the ripoff of Even Flow from Pearl Jam until he turned heel. And this
There's a really unknown thing about Jericho's last contract where he's like, all the shit on the network you're gonna have to put Break the Walls Down on and record over, or I won't sign.
Honestly, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised because it didn't work. I hated listening to that before we even get into it. But man, it took me right
that
away.
Didn't happen. Don't go. Well, we don't have any.
But I'm trying to think.
Dave,
It must have been
possible.
some instrumental, right? Some instrumental rock thing.
Yeah, no, it's dumb. He wasn't even Monday Night Jericho yet here. He was about, I want to say, like 4 or 5 months away from finally turning heel. But Eddie, on the other hand, had started to turn heel already here.
Yes,
And you start to
straight
see
heel,
the
yeah.
early, it was really awesome to see Guerrero at the stage.
Oh my
'cause
God.
He was trying
His
to get his heel
heelness
stuff
and this
down.
whole thing from the second
Yes.
he walked out to every
Yeah.
move, knew where the
So,
camera was.
I'm super
Complaining
excited.
about hair pulls while doing
But
hair
I'm
pulls.
gonna do.
yeah.
I forgot to go. We're gonna do thumbs up, thumbs in
Yeah.
the middle, thumbs down for every match here. I'm just gonna go to my notes and I'll let you guys take it more
All
in deep.
8 viewers know how this works, Jess.
Stop it, David. Damn it, David. My notes were.
Go to your room.
I'm already in my room. What?
My notes were, man, these two were good. Watching Eddie become a heel is fantastic. How good was everything? Thumbs up. Just go. I can't say enough good. These guys were fan-fucking-tastic. Like, great professional wrestlers. The movement, Eddie, I hate watching him. I hate him because
it hurt.
not him.
It's sad.
I hate watching him because he's gone. And it sucks.
And he's so good. He's
I
so
love him.
goddamn good.
I love Jericho too, but I love Eddie Guerrero. And you guys take it. Go ahead. Those were my notes.
I'm glad that you mentioned Unforgiven, that we were going to record on the same night, Unforgiven 2002 review, because seeing Guerrero and Edge in that event back to back with this one in the same kind of 2-hour period was amazing to see his evolution, to see how he changed his style. But man, I think watching this match at Fall Brawl, you got the feeling he loved playing heel. He enjoyed it. His intensity, the way he messed with fans and the way he looked at the camera and knew where the camera was, and the way he even did like 3 in a row. It's so old school, but the first 5 minutes he had 3 like, hey ref, pulling my hair, pulling my hair. And it worked, and the crowd was hype, and they went 17 minutes, and it was fantastic. It wasn't 5-star, but it was so enjoyable to see.
Can Guerrero counter? Up, he can. Oh, my goodness. It was Jericho that hit hard. Jericho's hand landed first, enabling Eddie to get up top. Frog splash.
Does he have
1, 2, yes.
Yes! We've got a new Cruiserweight champion!
And that ends the 1-month title reign of Chris Jericho.
No, yeah, you're right. But like, I was watching all of their wrestling moves, and I was like, God damn it! Like, these guys were both so fucking good, and they trusted each other, and they were
so fluid.
What did you give it, Craig? Obviously, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, thumbs up. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. But talk about some of those moves. Jericho recovering, hitting a power slam. I mean, Jericho doing a release German suplex, and Eddie pretty much landing on his head and neck, and just the power bomb avoidance. Eddie tries to get her Karana, Jericho power bombs him, and then a second power bomb when he hangs on, and then he dumps him into the buckles the third time around. Just phenomenal stuff that I don't want to say only cruiserweights can do, but probably only these guys can do, especially for 17 minutes, and have us not go, oh, I gotta go get a drink. You're glued the entire time. Total thumbs up. It's not even a question. A lot of people, I looked at reviews from years ago to check out what was going on, and almost everyone says, that's your match of the night, guys. So
yeah, it was awesome.
What an opener, and you could argue if you used them correctly and built them up in storyline, this would have been your main event, which these guys went on to main event.
They were years
several
away
matches
from
later.
it, but they didn't know what they
names,
had.
You're like,
Exactly,
of course,
yeah.
but I'm like, no, they weren't the Chris Jericho and the Eddie Guerrero yet. at this point. But you watch them, you go back and watch. I'm like, God damn it! Like I loved it. I was not expected to be blown away by the opener right out of the gate, and I was like, God, man, this match was really good. So
it didn't feel like a cruiserweight match either. It felt like a grudge match. It was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah,
so,
you can tell by just the moves they're using. This doesn't work like a regular cruiserweight match. They were going hard on each other, and it worked out great.
Did you track the interviews on this, Dave, or no?
The interviews, what I see here is that Larry Zavitsko joins the commentary team in Mike takes place. And then backstage, Jeff Jarrett answers a few questions on the WCW website.
So nothing happened. So the next match is a tag match: Harlem Heat versus the Steiner Brothers. Now, I didn't think I was going to like this because they wrestled so much. Not because I didn't like either team, because they're both really talented. But this match also, following the other match, I was like, fuck, it's going to be hard. But I loved this match, actually. My notes were, face managers make no sense, and I'm talking about Ted DiBiase, unless your name is Paul Ellering. I don't know any other face manager that made a difference anywhere. Maybe you guys can think of one. But Paul Ellering fit with the Road Warriors because he was really their babysitters in real life in the back. But like Ted DiBiase here was like a good guy manager, like, Steiners, blah, blah, blah. Like I was like, nah, he's weird. It's weird to watch. But Scott was blown up before the bell rang, because this was Scott's determination in this time of his life was to get massive and bloated, and he was fucking huge when he came out here.
Big.
He was blown up and breathing hard when they were facing off in the ring before the bell rang. He was like literally like, like probably making noises like as he's like facing off, and I was like, oh my god, like I thought he was gonna like blow the whole match, but it actually was great. Steiner Brothers actually showed Harlem Heat a lot of respect. Usually in matches, Steiners will be stiff as shit and not give a shit, but they were very professional with the Harlem Heat. Like, and not to mention watching Harlem get in the ring, I forget how big both those motherfuckers are. They're gigantic men. And like, but Steiners are big too. but you know what I mean? Like when they first got in there, I was like, God damn, I forgot how big Stevie Ray was.
They were 4 fucking specimens. Even like you had the workers between Booker T and Scott, but all 4 of them were huge at this point.
And so when the match started going on, it was stiff. It was professional. They showed Harlem. They let Harlem get their moves in. They did a lot of really good stuff. And that missile drop kick from that Booker did onto Rick Steiner on Stevie Ray's shoulder was insanity. And then like the surprise ending with the Steiner line into the German suplex by Rick was crazy. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And then it ended clean with a nice pin, no screw job. I was like, thumbs up. Like I was like, what a match that was. That was a great match.
Before we move to Dave, even saying missile dropkick does not do it justice. It was a doomsday dropkick.
Yes.
It was Rick Steiner on the shoulders of Stevie Ray, or might have it backwards, and Booker T giving a dropkick, but Rick didn't protect himself very well. Like, just ouch. It was even more dangerous than a doomsday device, if you could imagine that, a dropkick from another dude's shoulders.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I mean, just think about, Rick coming in and power slamming Booker for a 2 count. I'm just... the way when I see Harlem Heat and the Steiner Brothers in the ring, there's a reason why other rings are a square foot larger. Like they're too big for this ring. Like, you remember? I know Jess had it. You had the WWF ring, and you would slingshot your wrestlers, off the ropes and into the other wrestlers. That's what it feels like, and that's the only downside to a match like this. When these guys are this big, they need that extra foot. I know that sounds stupid, but these guys are massive. Like there's a reason why 300-pound guys and shit are close to it. They need like the 20 by 20 because this is getting ridiculous. At the same time, a lot of people didn't like this match according to the reviews I saw, but I'm like, what are you talking about? I know.
Like, why?
It's dumb. Like they say ho hum nothing but shit. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Jesus.
Like,
so
on WCW Saturday Night, we see a fucking missile dropkick from a Doomsday Device position every week.
Exactly. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Here's what
and I'm like,
I can understand that. I can understand that perspective from that fan, but they're wrong. I think I wanted this to be better than it was.
Good point.
Myself watching, I hadn't seen a match in a long time, and then I knew that it wasn't going to be the match that it was going to be because, to Jess's point, it was swollen hair dye Scott Steiner.
Yes.
When he's 20, 30 pounds less, and he had long wavy hair, he could move with the best of them. He was so swollen, so bloated. Rick was the small guy in this, and which is crazy. And there was that period when he was. My notes say, didn't appreciate Scott's forearms to Stevie's head to start. Scott Steiner starts giving these really stiff forearms to Stevie Ray's head to start. I was like, oh shit. The crowd love the
If I
Steiners.
could be a real dick though,
when they did the Rick underneath Scott Bulldog thing.
But what else is Stevie Ray good for than the forms of the head?
Oh man,
I mean,
it was amazing. And then that Doomsday Dropkick, they ended it shortly after that Doomsday Dropkick. Jess and I had a conversation before where I had thought that Rick was concussed and they had to end it early. Because the next move after that Doomsday Dropkick was the finish, but maybe it was just the way it was.
Steiner like the German suplex, right?
Yeah. Well, it could have been better for this environment coming off of Jericho and Guerrero. I was fully on board. I loved it.
I'm sorry. Give me the thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs middle.
Sorry, it's thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay. I'm going to give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to read this just to piss off Jess, because I like reading reviews of other people. What they think
shit. Dave. God damn it, Dave.
Okay, so hold on. Let me
look at me.
Get the right. Let me make sure I get the right person here. Wrestling Recaps is the site, by the way.
Oh, so credible. Go on.
Yeah, so credible.
Right off the bat.
This is great. It says, ho hum, nothing much doing, all pretty much autopilot by the number stuff, and there's very little that pisses me off more.
This is a moron.
I don't know.
This is an actual
close
moron
that
wrote
fucking
this.
browser.
Like, honestly, there's no... What is ho-hum about a missile dropkick off his shoulders?
See, I tried to find a middle ground, and David, you brought it back.
By the numbers
I am doing this every time we do a match. I'm reading stupid reviews online when we go to these matches.
By the numbers
it doesn't help.
Rick Steiner's, bulldog off the top rope into Scott Steiner doing the Frankensteiner 1, 2, 3. That's ho-hum. That's Steiner brother ho-hum.
If you have a problem, Jess writes wrestling recaps. Okay, just
no, they're probably not even in existence anymore because they suck. They probably spell news.
so many
Or they're millionaires.
Yeah, or they're millionaires. Yeah, one of the two. They're either done or they're fucking super rich and right about everything.
I created an app off of my wrestling recaps.
They probably spell news with a Z. So whatever. So okay. And there's nothing ho-hum about the missile dropkick or the untypical ending of the Steiner brothers. A Steiner line into a German suplex and a pin. That is not ho-hum.
Hey, Craig.
Fuck you. It's a thumbs up. Nothing pisses me off more. Nothing.
No, I give it a thumbs up for
Scott Steiner takes a lot of abuse in this match,
hey, Craig.
and it takes he takes some shit outside too. Like he gives it's to Jess's earlier first kind of point of giving respect. There was a lot. They all took damage here.
Yeah.
Craig, you can't get mad wonderful. Because I think we just found a gem here. I'm just going to read.
So to quote him, to quote this guy, nothing pisses me off more. Nothing
Dave.
pisses me off more than a third-rate fucking dirt rag
Move
sheet.
it up. See, thanks, Dave. Move on.
Like fucking ridiculous.
Dave, listen to him. He's out of control.
Anyway,
Move on.
Okay, next match. Dave, what did you give? You gave it a thumbs up. You said.
Fuck, Dave.
Yeah, I give it. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
We also
it's not even a question.
Talk about a ho-hum match. The next match is.
See, God damn. Look, we're one match in.
Ultimo Dragon versus Alex Wright for the WCW TV Championship. Alex Wright's the defending champion here. I'm just going to go to my notes. I never got Ultimo Dragon. I know he's big in Japan. I know a lot of people talk. I never really bought into Ultimo Dragon. He never excited me. I think I got spoiled with Ray and Dean and those guys, and Ultimo didn't show me anything new. However, I only really saw his WCW stuff. I've only seen a few things in New Japan. I'm sure he's a lot looser and a lot stiffer in New Japan. That's where they wrestle. So before people get crazy, before Wrestling Shit Show or whatever the guy's name is that wrote this fucking review, like, here's me,
I like that.
whatever his dumb fucking ignorant name is. So I just never got him in WCW. I never cared for his character.
I'm so happy right now.
This match, however, was the longest match other than the main event, which was a War Games cage match. This match went over 18 minutes. It was way too long. The guys did work hard. I will give them, but nobody cared about either character. The crowd was dead. I will give it a thumbs in the middle because they are good athletes. They didn't flub anything. It was just way too long. They could have shaved 5 minutes off this match, no problem.
No, Dragon Sleeper again. Alex fighting. Oh, a jawbreaker out of the Dragon Sleeper and a great counter move. He hooks him in a German suplex. 1, 2. Got him. He got him.
You were right, Larry. He sure scouted the Dragon.
That's what it takes. This kid did his homework. Dragon, once you do too much of the same maneuvers, the other guys probably just waiting for it.
As I tell you, we have
Still
All
has
right,
the
so we're
belt,
all
though.
thumbs middle. Next match.
Okay.
You're welcome.
The next
Jeff.
match is
Thanks, Dave. Go.
rightfully you should
Go.
This is gold
next
right
match-
now. What are you talking about?
The next match is Jeff Jarrett versus Dean Malenko. Jeff Jarrett had Deborah in his
It's tough.
corner.
With
14
Deborah.
minutes, 14 minutes, 53 seconds. I'm going to read my notes.
It is tough.
both guys had a hard time connecting with the crowd. I think when you get Dean outside of the cruiserweight umbrella, Dean was hard to resonate with the crowd. Jeff Jarrett, for some fucking odd reason, I love Jarrett. I don't know why people shit on Jarrett. But he did not. This WCW run was not good. The work was very solid. If you watch their movement and their work, they worked well with each other. Jarrett is very underappreciated, I feel. I screamed in horror, however, when Tony Schiavone said, "Oh, and by the way, the winner of this match gets the next shot at the United States champion, Mongo McMichaels." And I almost wanted to give a thumbs down for that reason. But I'll give it a thumbs in the middle because they worked hard, but the fans did not accept Dean Malenko outside the cruiserweight division because he had no charisma. And I love Dean. And Jeff Jarrett, for some odd reason, his run here in WCW did not click. Maybe it was the dumb top, the fucking strip thing he was wearing. I don't know. But if you just watch the work, like, they were fine. Like, they worked really well. Jeff Jarrett really, like, changed his style in there to work with a much shorter Malenko, because I noticed Jarrett changing his bumps and the way he would take certain things. So I thought both guys are just super great professional wrestlers. They really both are. I give it just a thumbs in the middle. The storyline was boring. I remember live when I watched this as younger Jess in 1997 that I was like, God, I just don't care about the storyline. I really don't. So that's my... Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
I have a lot to say about this match. I have a lot I want to explain about this match, but I think what I'll let speak for me in my review is the first review that Dave has to say about this match. And I think that I wrote this and that's what I want. And I want Dave to read, but I don't have an opinion myself. What I did is I wrote on a website many years ago and I want Dave to just read it.
Three stars.
That's what this person said?
Yeah. Very long for what it was. First half of the match had a grand total of nothing going on. Still, they got me back with the psychology of working the knee into a knee submission. Jared and Michael made more sense for the following match, so I guess I reluctantly agree with the booking, as well as though WCW weren't aware of Jared's reluctance to re-sign with them. He jumped ship.
Read my mind.
Soon afterwards.
That guy, whoever that douchebag was, read my mind.
I agree with that.
I know, it's not bad. It wasn't bad.
Like, I give it a thumbs in the middle because I respect both guys, but I could easily say if somebody gave it a thumbs down, I would not complain. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, apparently there's also an NWO segment which was heavily booed between this match and the next, with Nash and his faction.
Yes, they were.
They attacked.
They were doing like black and white vignettes and everything. Yeah, like talking shit on the Horsemen.
Yeah.
So
wait, didn't they attack? They attacked
Kurt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig.
Yes, they attacked Kurt Hennig.
Which we'll get to. They didn't need to attack Kurt Hennig.
They did. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
I think
they really did.
Okay.
The next match is a tag team match. Wrath and Mortis with James Vandenberg defeated the Faces of Fear, Megan Barbarian, in 12 minutes and 22 seconds. Just everybody shut up right now.
We have a Ming sighting. I'm so excited.
You know, it's become somewhat of a legend. There is a particular podcast I listen to from a particular dirt sheet that people love to shit on, but in it they are fascinated with Ming, and they go back and they watch all of his shit from Nitro, and they're like, how the fuck was he not world champion, the most popular wrestler ever? Because everything he did was so either stiff and brutal, but he was just Ming. Like, everybody respected Ming in the back. Everybody like, it was crazy. So him and the Barbarian were a great team, a very underrated team, Faces of Fear, that nobody talks about. Never won a WCW championship in the vacuum of titles changing hands all the time back in this era. Like, they just change hands all the time to spike ratings or get a talk or whatever. But Faces of Fear never won the WCW tag titles. Kind of a crime. But
I just feel like Faces of Fear would be like, fuck you, pay me.
I put hard-hitting match, went a little long, but they made up for it with their stiff spots. Silly gimmicks with Wrath and Mortis, but both guys actually did very well, especially Mortis, who is Chris Kanyon, is very exceptionally talented. I gave it a thumbs in the middle because I enjoyed, as Dusty Rhodes said, the clubrin. Not necessarily in this match, but he said it past, like whenever they do it, when they both beat down the opponent in the corner. He's like, oh, the clubrin! He used to say it with the Nasty Boys too. But like, there's spots that I'm gonna let Craig talk about in this fucking match that made me go, ha ha ha, like, because they were so like just fucking brutal and great. Like, and Mortis is a professional and took all the bumps or whatever. Forget the money that I know Dave's talked about on past episodes, because they tied in with Glacier, Mortis and Wrath. They were kind of feuding with Glacier in the beginning. They paid a lot of money for those fucking suits that Mortis and Wrath came down to the ring wearing. They paid a movie studio to actually build those. Like, so they were not cheap like at all. But Mortis and Wrath were actually a good team. I kind of liked their little gimmick. I really did. And then also Faces of Fear were fucking brutes in here. And you had two guys on one side that knew, okay, we got to take a beating from Barbarian and Meng. And you had Meng and Barbarian that were like, we're going to go beat them. So it was perfect. I think both teams understood exactly. It wasn't meant to be the match of the night. It wasn't meant to be a barn burner. Craig, talk about the spots. I really give it a strong thumbs in the middle. I had fun watching it. No, it was not Eddie and Jericho from the first match or even the Steiners from in Harlem from the second. But this was fun. I had fun with this match. Strong thumbs in the middle for me.
Yeah.
He just got 2 men. A double Tongan death grip, and they're standing here at Fall Brawl. But look at Wrath. From behind with the death penalty on 1, 2. He's got him. He beat him. He grabbed him.
Yeah, I'll give it thumbs in the middle. My notes are as follows. Can Barbarian count? He messes up two counts to where the ref has to bail him out during this. Like, one is a legit complete miss where the ref then says his foot was on the rope. And the other one was like, I can't remember what it was. But Barbarian was like, I said, this is a problem. Is he okay? Mortis was very inventive. Like, you forget how good he was and how Canyon's the one that kind of trained a lot of wrestlers backstage. He does a rocker dropper from the top rope on this. He does a lot of interesting stuff. There is a chop. Before that, I will say that 1997, they already had so much respect for Meng. The things that we see now in memes, the accounts and the stories we've heard, I think this was his apex. The Mortis, or what was the other guy's name?
Wrath.
Mortis or Wrath.
Who was Adam Bomb?
Brian.
Ken.
Adam Bomb. Brian.
Is it
someone.
Brian Clark? Yes, it's Brian Clark.
Yes, Brian Clark. Brian Clark goes over and hits Meng off the ring, and Meng is not in the ring; he's on the side of the rope. And then Heenan and Shivani are like, "Well, look, don't do that. Why do you mess with Meng? Now you're just gonna get yours. Like, he's gonna come in and then hurt you." And everything he said was about his toughness. And even the finish of this match, it was like they fully bought in at this very point to Meng's toughness and who he is, kind of backstage, which I'd never really noticed before. Like, it took 3 guys to take him down, 2 where he had his Meng claw in each of them.
Yeah.
And then he finally lost that way. But there's a chop that Meng gives to Mortis off the ropes, which is one of the biggest, loudest, like, most hurtful chops I've ever seen. And for that alone, like, it was in the middle.
And Meng frog splash Mortis too, yeah?
Meng deserves. I hope this was Meng's like greatest. Like, he deserves a lot more than he got. But this was definitely a Meng match.
It was Meng whipped Mortis into the ropes and backdropped Mortis into Barbarian, who caught him in the powerbomb position, but almost dropped him, but then just got angry and powered him up and gave him the highest powerbomb ever. Like, Jesus, like, I was like that, the laugh, like, it's the uncomfortable, like, laugh when you're like, oh man, like, and I watched it, I was like, God, like, that's just brutal shit.
They didn't plan anything out. They didn't kill each other.
He just went with it. Like, it was just, it was awesome. It was I can't even say it was sloppy. It was just stiff and hard hitting, but Mortis, more than anybody knew, that's just what it is, right? I gotta do it. Like, so, yeah, it was a really fun match. Thumbs in the middle for sure. Not a scientific masterpiece at all.
Do it.
So what do you give it, Dave? Yeah, go ahead.
I'll even give it a thumbs up just for Meng. I love Meng. I'm a big fan.
Read this piece of shit's.
Okay. I was gonna ask, did you really want to read it? I think I was getting you guys too angry. All right. So first of all, it's a half star.
Sure.
It's lucky that Canyon.
If you're looking at it from a wrestling standpoint, okay, I don't disagree with that. But you also need to be entertained by wrestling. So I'm already shitting on his review. Go on.
And this is
that from Davey, 14-year-old? Who gave it a half star?
It's lucky that Canyon was in this match, or it would have outright sucked Donkey Penis.
Oh,
way too.
I don't. Okay. I'm not opposed to that.
Way too long and way too much feces of fear. Interesting.
The writer of this is into donkey sex, which is fine. It's illegal, but fine.
Yeah. Interesting that they put over the no-selling Meng and Wrath in the finish, despite the fact that they both absolutely suck. I remember how some
You're done. Moving on. Next match. Just go next. Jess.
Raving about the Wrath back in '97, and quite frankly, it's hard to see what the hell they saw in the guy. That would be the ditch in case anyone was interested.
Oh, good.
Stop.
Okay.
You're done.
Anyway,
thank you, Jess.
All right. So I've already discredited this dumb fucking moron.
No, it's all good, but this is fun.
This fucking idiot.
Is this a different guy or the same guy?
Same guy.
Oh, fuck.
Dumb shit.
So good.
I thought you were actually randomly picking
The
people.
next match,
Well,
no, this is the
next
same
week.
dumb shit. The next match was the Giant against Scott Norton in a singles match. 5 minutes, 27 seconds. I have 2 short notes. How is this not a squash match? And thumbs in the middle. Only because, once again, they actually were pretty tight, like in this. The Giant was not super clumsy. He was calm.
Oh, yeah?
He was
Okay.
he was taking his time. I just thought that the stuff on the outside was not necessary. I thought, why protect Scott Norton? Just have him come in there, have the match last a minute or 2, have Norton get a couple big strong moves in to be like, ooh, he might be a threat, and then Giant just takes over on him. Choke slam, 1, 2, 3.
The Giant. One, two, three.
That's impressive. This one for the New World Order.
How about that?
2, 3. This did not. 5 minutes to me was too long for this. I only give it a thumbs in the middle because it wasn't a. It didn't shit the bed, which I totally thought it was. When they came down to the ring, I was like, well, here we go. This is going to derail this pay-per-view for me. It maybe because I was in a good mood from everything I saw before that I'm having mercy on this match. But I give it a thumbs up. Go ahead, Craig. I know you're going to get upset.
Before I get to my opinion on this match, I don't worry with this. Before this match, there was a Horseman promo.
Yeah.
Which because Henning got hurt,
Attacked.
it's attacked. It's Benoit, it's Mongo, and it's Flair. And Benoit goes first and doesn't sell it, and Mongo goes next and doesn't sell it. And holy shit, if my smile didn't come to my face with Mean Gene when Flair, in his wisdom, saved the entire thing, started with a Mean Gene, and still brought it back to how important that feud was, and the entire angle of and I don't know if we're going to talk to this when we get to that match, but the Horseman versus NWO
No, you're right.
and the
whole
Arn
thing
and
that
that
set
thing,
this
but this
match up-
promo
yes.
itself.
The whole thing that set this match up was Arn Anderson gave that famous retirement speech on Nitro a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And then the next week, the NWO did the parody where Kevin Nash dressed up like Anderson and said, oh, not my dog spot, not my liver spot, but my spot. And did the whole thing, caused a lot of controversy in the back.
liver spot.
So a lot of heat was
my
legitimately coming
spot.
into this match. You thought it was going to be good. But so that just sets the table. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Yeah. So I know that just love Flair.
Hey, let me jump on to the next so we don't run too long. The next is a grudge tag team, no disqualification match. Lex Luger and Diamond Dallas Page took on the Macho Man Randy Savage and Scott Hall. Let me read my notes. I enjoy every time DDP and Savage lock up because their feud was fire in 1997. Why follow the tag rules in the beginning if it's a no DQ match to begin with? I don't know why they fucking tagged in and out. It makes me nuts. Hall attacking the refs at the end made me fucking laugh. When he snuck behind the second ref who was checking on the other one and he kicked him in the back of the head, I laughed aloud. Like, that was really funny. Him also kicking Luger between the two rings was very funny as well. Was Zbyszko a ref? I don't know. Did I miss something? Like, Zbyszko's interference, I get they were doing the storyline with him and Hall, so I did not have a problem, like Craig did, with Zbyszko making an appearance. But, like, when Zbyszko caused the pinfall and Luger rolled him up from behind, I thought Sting was going to lower down behind Hall, get the crowd to pop, hit, Scott Hall with something, and then someone was going to pin him. But Zbyszko rolls in there and counts 3. I'm like, so Zbyszko's a ref? I don't even get it.
Luger! Count 1, 2, 3. How about that? It's over. It's over.
They want to make their own rules. We'll make our own.
We'll make our own rules. You lost. Go home.
I liked the match before
it's
that.
fair.
I thought it was fun. I thought they could have been a little bit more no DQ-y, but they did make up for it with the cool Luger getting stomped in the middle of the ring. Hall was funny and sweating buckets, by the way, in this whole match. And for a reason I can't state. I don't know why.
He was on a recent bender. It's all good.
I don't know why. I have no idea about his history or anything like that. But and Macho was always super cool as a heel. Him and DDP were awesome. They always had intensity. So I liked the match. I thought maybe it shouldn't have been a no DQ match because it made no sense. They could have just done 2 ref bumps to knock both refs out and did the same thing. And then Hall get behind him and kick him so the ref didn't know who kicked him so he can't disqualify anybody. That would have worked just as well. Why advertise a no DQ match when they really didn't do anything that made it like, oh, that guy should have got disqualified for that. But because the rules are no DQ, he's not gonna. I don't know. It's weird. And then Zbyszko being the ref, I gave it a thumbs in the middle only because I love Macho Man. I love DDP. I thought their feud was cool. Hall made me laugh a lot, actually. Just he was super loose in here and had fun, it seemed. And when Hall is motivated, he's a great performer. So that's why I gave it a thumbs in the middle. And I'm in a good mood, like I said, because the undercard so far has not let me down. So I don't blame people for shitting on this match, but it was just misguided with the rules, and Zbyszko confuses me. And go ahead, Craig.
Yeah.
What are you writing right now?
He's taking notes.
my notes,
fucker.
my notes in my head. I'll give this thumbs
Notes
down.
why Jess is
and I
crazy.
don't really mean to, because
Notes Why Jess is Crazy by Craig, and then you're just listing bullet points.
He's like, thank you, Jess, for being crazy.
they really did try. Luger is so over in this.
Yeah.
He throws Macho Man out very unsafe to where he hits Hall and like hits his like back first, like a very strange. To where then Hall like has to talk to him, like, are you okay? Because he really fucked you up. But Luger looks great. This match should have been good. I was enjoying it, and then I told Jess before we hit start on this podcast and Dave, Zbyszko has no business being in the ring or even getting in the ring or even standing up on the apron pretending he's going to get in the ring, and for him to then do that to Hall, and then to Hall to not Hall became a face by not punching him in the face for 5 minutes before Zbyszko stepped in the ring. He should have annihilated him minutes before Zbyszko actually stepped in, and then Zbyszko actually makes the pin. It was the second only biggest clusterfuck of the night compared to the one after this.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I know I'm being generous.
It could have been good.
But it's just because I when I see Savage and DDP.
Thumbs down
When
for
you
me.
see Savage
You're
and
right.
DDP, it's hard.
You're right. You're right. Craig
It's
is
so good
correct,
seeing
though.
these guys in together. They tried,
it's a
man. And
thumbs
Scott,
down. It's a
If you've
thumbs
never
down.
seen that, yeah, you guys are both correct. Legit.
But what I'm gonna say here to you is, and I won't do the whole thing, but I just think this is hilarious. This review.
Oh,
says-
please, Dave. Please do.
He said that match sucks so much. I've recapped it again in the style of a Swedish chef from the
Stop.
Muppets, just
Please
to try
stop.
to make it entertaining.
No,
I will
don't
not
read any
indulge
more
you.
about it. Don't
I will
read
not
it.
indulge
No.
you.
Don't indulge me at all. That will...
What the hell was that?
Nope. Okay, next match.
Okay, no, but what I will say
Stop
real
it.
quick before you do that, this is funny. Backstage, Scheme Gene doesn't know anything, but the WCW hotline is open at
he said
$1.59
Scheme
a
Gene,
minute.
stop it. Jeff main event. Jeff. I called you
And
Jeff.
actually, the funny thing is
No, just-
yes, it was a commercial, and he told you to call about the Kurt Hennig information, and I immediately thought of like Flair and them in the back because they were last seen in the interview stage of them going, "Fucking call the hotline now so we can see what happened to Kurt Hennig." Like it's just so ridiculous, like the whole thing. We don't know on this broadcast what's happening, but call the hotline. I have a feeling they do. Like fucking ridiculous. So the main
fucking
event.
great.
The main event
$1
was
fucking 59, bro.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
to hear Kurt Hennig is nobody knows where he is right now. It's ridiculous.
Oh, his shoulder shattered.
Yeah.
Shattered, bro.
Shattered.
So the main event is what we all came here to see in North Carolina, Flair Country. Leading up to it, like we said, to go to this interview, Arn Anderson gave that emotional retirement speech, gave Kurt Hennig his spot. The next week, the NWO parodied it, and they put makeup on and cosmetics on, and Nash was Anderson and made fun of his drinking, which actually really hurt Anderson in real life because his kids were watching, blah, blah, blah. So there was legit heat in the back over this, too.
Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So there was
Oh,
legit
man.
heat in the back over this, and Flair gets emotional and pissed
Yeah.
at anything. Anyone he thinks is disrespecting
Which-
wrestling. So I get it. It was a serious, like, Anderson legitly retired in the ring, even though he was in character.
Yeah.
Flair cried behind him. It was a moment. I thought the NW parody was fucking funny, by the way, because that's what wrestling is. So to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking deal with it, guys. You guys are winning the war. WCW's on fire here. Fucking do it. But I have a major problem with the way they booked this match. So the War Games is 2 rings side by side with the cage lowered to cover both rings with like a 5-foot fucking tall ceiling. So basically what it is there are teams of 4 on this case. It used to be teams of 5, but here it's teams of 4. They come down to the ring, they flip a coin and face off like you do at the beginning of a football game, and whoever wins the coin gets the advantage. So one from each team starts out. Then every 5 minutes? Fuck, I don't even remember the time. Every
you're
5
right.
minutes,
Yep.
the person who won the coin toss gets the advantage. So I want to say the NWO got the advantage here. So basically, after 5 minutes, a new NWO member comes in. So now it's 2-on-1 for 5 more minutes. Then a WCW guy comes in, and they go back until all members have entered. Once all members have entered, the only way to win a War Games match is submit or surrender, which is the same thing. So I don't know why.
The match beyond starts then,
so you
Jess.
can you can't win by pinfall. You can't win by getting out of the cage. You can only win by making someone.
The match
So you
beyond,
have one
Dave.
ref in there running around like a chicken with their head cut off, going, "Are you in a hold? Are you in a hold? Are you in a hold?" Like,
Submit or surrender.
Yes. So the Dave's never liked this format, which now that I said it out loud, I'm like, yeah, Dave's right. So the match was Team NWO, Kevin Nash, Buff Bagwell. They're pulling out the B squad here, folks. Conan and Six versus Ric Flair, Chris Benoit,
Formidable.
Mongo McMichaels, which you better have watched.
So
Mongo
wait,
the entire time.
well, Mongo's a C player, but
Yeah.
back as a
Mongo
B. But
and Kurt-
But I want to make sure. But I want to make sure I got this clear. You called Conan a B player.
Well, they always called him famously. Their nickname was the NWO B team. That's what all the lesser guys were called.
No, I want you to say Conan's a B wrestler.
The greatest wrestler of all time. Yes, he is. So
God, you just don't want him to call in and make fun of you.
Fuck him, man. So the last member on the Horsemen's team, which was attacked by the NWO earlier in the night, was the new Horseman, Kurt Hennig, who during said emotional speech with Anderson took Anderson's spot as the enforcer on the Horsemen. So Kurt Hennig
Hurt his elbow.
got attacked by somebody.
Got
NWO,
beat up.
And now it's 3-on-4.
I heard about that.
Shivani said it the best.
Yeah.
Shivani said it the best. He's like, why didn't anyone from the WCW locker room come and fill this void in? You're going to figure out why, but here we go. So they do I'm just going to read my notes. I hate it when they run someone into a cage, Bagwell 3 times, and there's no blood. It makes no sense. Don't run him into the cage fucking 3 times. Benoit ran Bagwell's face into the cage 3 times, and there's no blood. If you can't read...
That was like the best part of the match for me, actually.
Right, but,
was just seeing those two in together.
Actually,
but you're not wrong. You're 100% right. 3 times face first.
I didn't know I kind of wanted to see a Bagwell and Benoit match until I saw them face off. I was like, this might be interesting.
Yes.
It was a swerve for the sake of the swerve at the end of this match, which is so stupid. Smashing Flair's head in the cage looked cool, but to sacrifice an entire storyline just for a hot swerve for one night makes fucking no sense. Thumbs down. This match was terrible because Mongo was involved and so was Conan. And on top of that, the ending made no sense. They swerved and basically.
God, stop! Just stop talking.
So thumbs down. Go ahead and talk about it, and we'll talk about what happened in the match.
Tell us what's up.
Go ahead.
It was amazing. I believe this won PWI Match of the Year. Dave, can you check?
Read your stupid shit review, Dave.
Oh, your internet's down? Yeah.
It did not.
Here's awful. War Games The Match Beyond started with the 4 Horsemen. It's a match created with the 4 Horsemen in mind. 4 Horsemen kind of need to be involved in almost every War Games. I mean, notwithstanding NXT, but they made it. To see them done dirty as they were done in this match was ridiculous. And the entire purpose, to Jess's point, of the booking of adding Kurt Hennig and then having Kurt Hennig beat up and then having Kurt Hennig come in and then having Kurt Hennig reveal himself as on the opposite side, and then having Kurt Hennig throw handcuffs to everybody, and then having the rest of the NWO to ask whether they surrender or submit to the rest of the WCW, when all they actually had to do, if you have any brain in your head, is, hey, Kurt Hennig, do you submit?
Yes!
Yeah, I surrender. It's over
I
never
thought of that. That's fucking genius.
The fucking dumbest thing in the
world.
world.
On another level, and I love you for it. Like, you're fucking right. Like, why the fuck...
He got hurt at all. He's got handcuffs. He's got handcuffs. Oh, yeah.
What? Oh, no.
He's not hurt at all. He's not hurt at all.
And he's gone right for
My God, what's he doing?
You know what he's doing, Tony?
It's another.
You know exactly what he's doing.
They could have still slammed Flair's head in the cage after they got the win. It didn't matter at that point.
Even funnier, they could have
Yeah.
had like a pinky hold and just been like, "Do you submit?" Yeah.
Yes.
Did they not
And
do the
they
finger
didn't
poke
even
of
need
doom
to
like 2
beat
years
him
later?
up to his elbow because he could have just gone in before Flair and beat everyone up and revealed himself. It was horrible.
Yes. But they sacrificed, like, if you would have turned Henning face and left him as the enforcer, people would have bought it, and they could have feuded because the heat in the back and what the crowd saw of the parody of the moment of Anderson retiring, people were into it. People loved it. They could have easily fucking just kept Henning as part of the Horsemen, and they could have toured everywhere. Flair did legitimately take time off. I think he had another inner ear problem here, and he certainly did after the fucking cage slam. If he didn't before,
I tried to rewind it a couple of times.
I'm sorry, no, I take it back. He actually had cosmetic surgery. I'm being dead serious. They said it was an inner ear problem. He actually had cosmetic. I think he had like the scars and his eyes lifted or something like that. Legitly, he had cosmetic surgery. I'm not making a joke. So he was going to take a couple months off for a while anyway. So they made the whole cage slam as like a reason for him to leave. But they disbanded the Horsemen after that. I'm like, why? They were so afraid to damage the NWO when all the NWO were at heart were heels, which they need their comeuppance sometimes. Every now and then the heels need to get their ass kicked to be put into place. So I'm not saying if they cheated to win real quick here is fine. They could still keep their heat that way, but they were so scared, and it ultimately led to WCW's downfall and the crumbling apart of the NWO storyline, which was already getting redundant here in 1997. Like, they were so afraid to hurt them that they sacrificed anything, including the storyline with Henning that would have worked. What did Henning's turn do? Nothing.
So
it was over. It was over. Like the next week, nobody cared about Henning.
In Winston-Salem, by the way, in fucking Winston-Salem.
Yes. So what you're saying is the NWO is 2020 COVID?
Yes. And let me read a quote here before I go to you. I forgot.
Afraid to do anything about it that it's going to fucking kill everything else.
Nash was on the microphone out here, and he said, death of the Horsemen right here in their backyard. And I was like, right. That was your fucking dumb plan, wasn't it? Like, right. You're totally right.
Yeah. Exactly what you want, Kevin.
For no reason. Like, it didn't make any sense. They didn't have to turn Henning heel, is my point. They didn't have to waste a War Games cage match to not, like, have a nice, vicious match.
Even if Flair takes time off, you can still have the Horsemen in tow while he's out.
Now Henning's got a renewed purpose. I'm the enforcer, guys. Flair's out for a while. I'm gonna be like,
and
what would
you
Anderson
put
do?
Perfect at the
Anderson
helm.
would rally the troops. He would get these guys or whatever. You could have gone on for months and house shows.
And you have Anderson do spots on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah. They could have done that, but instead, Henning joins right away. Flair goes out. Henning and Flair did have some matches like for the next few pay-per-views after, but it didn't matter because the Horsemen were disbanded and they killed Flair in Horseman country. It doesn't make any sense.
They didn't respect Arn enough to give the Horsemen the victory that night, or to even make it like, even if a last second Kurt swerve instead of getting him beat up, coming in last, and then immediately, and then that whole drawn out of 10, 15 minutes of beating them up.
Just that we tricked you.
It was I mean, disrespect.
I didn't even think about the Henning. I didn't even think about Henning just saying like, "Yep, I quit," because he was. But it's ridiculous.
I quit.
Like, you're right. You're totally right.
Because he's on the other fucking team.
You're totally right.
Hey guys, what's up?
That's fucking.
Juices.
So like overall, like honestly, like I enjoy this pay-per-view far more than I thought I would, because the first, like, even with the Ultimo Dragon and Alex Wright, the first like 4 matches delivered. I liked them. I liked them. Jericho and Eddie was a standout for sure. Harlem Heat and Steiners, I loved it. The creativity of that match. Mortis and Faces of Fear was just a fun little romp in the park. Like, it was, so I thought it was surprisingly the energy of the pay-per-view, the crowd, and what they did, except the last 2 matches kind of started to fall apart, which was WCW's kind of thing back then. They had a strong undercard, but their main events with the older stars didn't deliver very well, because the egos and the NWO can't lose and that whole mentality.
I think that's exactly it. You couldn't figure out the finishes or have someone accept what's best for the storyline and what's happening right then. And you had that in the last 2 matches.
Like the NWO would have been done.
I mean,
like if they lost, like the NWO would have, no more NWO. Are you fucking joking me? They would have still infected the entire.
Just one night in Winston-Salem, and you can get the heat back the next night on Monday. Mm-hmm. Without Hogan is not even there to complicate things. Like, they were that scared.
Yeah.
Shut up, Dave. Shut up.
Shut up, review guy. But I hope you enjoy it. Everybody go back. It's worth the watch.
What was Homeboy's reaction to the last match, Dave?
It was the best thing I've ever seen. Finally something.
So Henning slams Flair head in the cage door anyway. 2.5 stars. Disappointing. The NWO did nothing in this match, bar 6, taking a few reasonable bumps. Crowd hates the finish because it absolutely sucks. and that's the end of the show. He can't really tell you why.
I'll be honest. I don't disagree with him on that one.
And he gave the overall pay-per-view a C+ rating.
No, better
I
than
give it
that.
a B, a solid B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do
Solid
that
B.
rating, we
Yeah,
don't do that.
I would say I give the pay-per-view a, if I'm being negative, a thumbs
Like
in the
a
middle,
thumbs-
but if I'm being happy, a thumbs up, because there are 3 matches that I can tell you to go watch right now that are
Like
worth
a
your time.
thumbs 45 degrees up, like
Yeah.
not completely.
Yeah,
up, but
not
it's like-
not
it's
in the
like-
middle, but not totally up, but like,
It's like yeah, Craig's got it right there.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm down
So
with that.
the 3 matches: Jericho and Guerrero, Steiners and Heat, and
Gosh,
Giant and I'm just kidding.
that was
and,
cool.
Ming to Ming.
No.
The Mortis and I said 3 matches, right? And then the Mortis tag match with the Faces of Fear was pretty fun to watch. It was entertaining.
It wasn't. It was good. It's not as bad as you remember WCW during that period. There were a lot of hit and miss. Other than the last 2, there was some good wrestling.
I don't think.
I'll say thumbs up.
I'll
My
give
hero.
I'll give it a thumbs towards the up because. But the sad thing about it is, what the hard part is, the main event takes such a huge dump, and the plethora of talent on the top of the card, going into it is so great, and that's what saves it. And that's not the way it's supposed to work. I mean, it was just being
Right.
That's my problem with it. That's why I have a hard time giving it a thumbs up.
Where
Other than
on the
that-
other channel,
Yeah.
WWF was a shitty undercard because they had just a crappy characters and a weird undercard. But then their main event guys like Brett and Taker, for example, in SummerSlam '97, and Shawn and all them, they would hit it out of the park. Like the main events would be
That's a great
deliver
point.
huge. Where WCW was the polar.
That's a
the
great
opposite.
point.
The undercard and the cruiserweights were like yes, and then you got to
Just
all the
killing
big
it.
egos and the big marquee matches, and you're like, these guys didn't really do that well. They're not very athletic.
so
Whereas,
incredibly different.
Yeah.
Yeah. People bought the pay-per-view because of Flair and Flair Country and all that and went to the event.
It's why
But
competition was so brilliant back here. I mean,
Unfortunately, they caught the good stuff at the beginning of the match, not the end.
Why not give Horseman a final send off with Arn having to retire his spot? It makes no sense.
Why
and it's
can't
a
Arn
lack
get
of-
in there somehow and give someone a fucking?
I was just gonna say that
It's
Yeah, let
disrespectful.
Arn come in there like when it looked bleak for the Horseman,
Yeah.
and then
He didn't have to
Arn
touch
comes in and
anyone.
spinebuster somebody and rolls out and leaves. Like it'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Or even if he just stood there, he didn't have to touch anyone.
Yeah.
If Flair eventually, just a distraction.
Yep.
I love
Yeah.
it. Lots of ways to do it. Hindsight, right?
I like the way, by the way, Dave brought a 4th member of this podcast in somehow with the reviewer guy, which I will not ask him who
Some
it is because I
asshole,
don't care who
yeah.
it is. He's a dumb shit.
I just gonna tell you, I'm gonna continue to try to do that every time we do these.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, you know what? I've never seen you so happy during the
He likes
podcast.
making me all pissed
is,
off.
is to
He likes
rile up
making me
Jess.
I don't like
Yeah.
it upset.
That's right. Hit us up on Instagram at OWP.
I'm a peaceful man.
Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and don't forget we're also part of the Wrestle Hub family, all about wrestling podcast. Catch them at the Wrestle Hub on YouTube and Instagram. This is Dave, Jess, Craig, and some unknown douchebag with the OWP.
My name's Mark Markuson.
Saying-
I'm good. I like to review
boring as
things.
shit.
Oh,
Have a good one.
Mark Markuson. I like to review things.
NEWC.
Themselves oppressing your own cognitive function eliminated. Conversations are checked for going